Welcome to this introductory webinar to the EU SME Center's latest report on the snacks market in China. The EU SME Center is an EU Commission-funded project that helps EU SMEs to prepare to do business in China by providing them with a range of information, advice, training, and support services. The center is implemented by 6 chambers of commerce and it's currently in its second phase. Unlike the center's other webinars, this is just a teaser. We're going to review the content that is included on the report, and we will show what's included by going through an example of one subsegment. After the introduction, we explore the definition of snacks, especially to see what's considered a snack in China, to be able to segment the market into different categories. We have defined 8 categories, and each one of these categories is also divided into different subsegments. We go through all of them and we see how much of these categories is actually being imported and what are the duties and taxation that apply for each of the HS codes involved. Then we provide an overview of the different sales channels. We see how snacks perform in each of them, including brick and mortar and e-commerce. Then we provide the basic requirements for labeling. We see an example of a real case, and we provide some key takeaways for European SMEs. Unlike other more mature markets, Chinese consumption habits are changing very quickly, especially among the urban population. This is something that affects all categories, but snacks especially, because it relates a lot to consumption patterns. Consumers are now looking for convenience and are eager to taste new products, not only from their home country, but also from abroad. While European countries lead global rankings in sugar consumption, China is one of the countries with the lowest consumption per capita. Just to put this into perspective, if we compare it to the Netherlands or Germany, Chinese consume less than 1/6 of the sugar consumption in these countries. This has a huge impact on the type of snacks that Chinese consume and the quantities. Chocolate, sugar, and other sweet confectionery that are very well consumed in Europe and produced by many companies are less important as snack categories in China. Although, just because the market is massive, even niche markets represent big opportunities for European SMEs. As we have mentioned, snacks are a broad food category composed of many subcategories with different market sizes, performance, and characteristics, and we will be going through all of them in the report, and we will pick one example to use in this webinar. So let's define what's a snack and what's considered as such in the Chinese market. The Oxford Dictionary defines snack as a small amount of food eaten between meals. This definition is very easy to understand, but more difficult to narrow down. The snack market is very diverse. It's composed of many different product categories, and the characteristics of each of them may be very, very different, even if they are all considered snacks. However, there is no consensus on what categories are included or should be included, and everything is more difficult because eating habits change regionally. Snacks in China are not the same as in Europe, so we cannot equate the same categories for both regions. So the conclusion is that there are several alternatives to segment China's snack categories. Um, all of them may be equally valid, but we have chosen one segmentation that is based on our fieldwork and observation of the different retailers, and it's the following. What you can see on the left half of your screen are the categories: chocolate, sugar confectionery, other sweet confectionery, nuts, seeds, and rice crackers. And on the right side, you can see the sub-segments included into these categories. There could be more. Actually, there are more, but we have listed the main ones, and we will go through all of them in the report. These are the other 4 categories, adding up to a total of 8. For the purpose of this webinar, we've chosen yogurt as a category and creamy yogurt as a sub-segment. If we compare it to Europe, yogurt is probably one of the categories that changes the most towards being a snack. As you can see in your screen, in the case of creamy yogurt, cups are a little larger to reach a small meal size compared to the traditional dessert size that we have in Europe. And they normally include the small spoon, foldable spoon, together with the yogurt so it can be consumed on the go. In terms of flavors, you can find more or less the same as in Western countries, mainly fruits and berries. For price, a cup as the one you can see on the picture is about 6 yuan. There are larger cups and bottles, and the main brands are Chinese, but there are also some imported ones. These imported ones can be found mainly on specialty supermarkets, as the local players dominate the rest of the channels. As we said, local brands dominate the market, but there are a few foreign brands that are present. How much is actually being imported? Well, the answer is not much yet, because China's imports are growing very, very quickly. In 2017, China imported 4 times the amount that it did in 2015. When we take a look at the origins, we can clearly see that European countries are performing very well, especially Germany. China imported almost 23,000 tons of German yogurt, worth more than 40 million US dollars. And then we have Spain with 1,400 tons, Poland with 1,000 tons, and Austria with 800 tons. These 4 are the top 4 origins for Chinese imports in terms of quantity. Let's see what duties and taxes importers of these products need to pay. Companies need to pay a 10% tariff and a 16% VAT when importing yogurt. On the report, we provide an overview on how these channels are performing, how they are adapting to changing consumption habits, and we provide a very detailed analysis of what's the importance of each snack category in each of the channels, and what's the percentage of imported products in each one of them. We include some recommendations for EU SMEs to approach these sales channels, and we include some listing of the largest retailers per channel. To wrap up this webinar, we will see some of the key takeaways for USMEs trying to sell snacks into China. So, one of the most important takeaways is that European snack exporters should approach the Chinese market as a niche market. Exporters should work with specialized importers and retailers that target a small segment of population. They need to build a strong brand reputation first among professionals, that is importers, distributors, or retailers, and then among consumers, which is essential to succeed in the market. Everything that we have reviewed in this webinar is just a tiny fraction of the full content of the report that has just been published. If you are an USME interested in selling snacks into China, or you are already doing it, then you will definitely find useful this 53-page report.